Did I lose everybody, or are you back? You still with me? I'll wait a few minutes. Okay, good. Got people coming back in. I got Mardell, Brenda Jordan. Good afternoon, Brenda. How are you today? I had Mardell from the previous video that I just deleted. Claire, good morning or good afternoon. Claire Quinn is aboard. Brenda Jordan's back. Oh, Claire's from Ontario. Well, welcome. Now, like I was saying earlier, I've had lots of requests to do a banana pudding. So I said, well, I'll fix one, but it's not going to be kind of the old traditional way because it takes too long. But I'll show you how I do mine now. See, we got Mardell, Brenda Jordan, Claire Quinn. Where is everybody? I know I didn't schedule it, so I can't be disappointed if I don't get too many to show up. But I should have the monetization on, and the chat replay should be on. So, well, thank you. I'm glad somebody loves something about me. It shows up here on my screen, but it's kind of small writing, so I've got it on my phone so I can get it closer so I can read it. How's the weather in Ontario today? Well, thank you, Brenda. I'm glad you like my videos. I do my best. I'm not too proficient at doing videos because I've not been doing them that long, but I feel like I get better and better as it goes by. The more I do, the better I get, I guess. Hopefully. Straighten that camera up a little bit. I still feel like it's lopsided. I don't know. Oh well. Claire says the weather's sunny and partly cloudy. That's the way it is here, and they've been issuing another, not so much of a warning, but they say we do have a possibility of showers today, off and on, but we haven't gotten anything so far. And the storm warnings that we've been getting, we got some heavy rain out of a lot of it, but we didn't get really bad weather. The plants loved all the rain. Oh, I forgot to send Bloomin' a message that we were going live. I'm glad she saw it and popped in. Hi, Bloomin'. Yeah, I get all these requests to do different dishes. So I decided, and it's been ages since I fixed a banana pudding. I don't usually fix it because it's so much. And, I don't really want to sit down and eat the whole thing by myself. But I said, oh well, I'll fix it. I don't usually eat a lot of sweets anyway. And I said, I guess I can handle some banana pudding. Good afternoon, Bloom, and I'm glad to see you got in. I forgot to send you a message that I was going live. I forgot all about it. But hopefully you start getting notifications when I go live. Yeah, you made it, Bloomin'. I'm glad to see it. I've been busy uploading a video of Little Buddy all morning, and it's been taking forever for some reason. So I decided while that finishes uploading, I'll go ahead and do this live. Never fear, Bloomin' is here. Yeah, we are so glad that Bloomin' made it. Yeah, little buddy's a little ham. He knows, I think he knows he's on video and people watch him and he's a little celebrity. So he's kind of a ham in front of the camera. Well, it looks like I got 11 in here. I mean, you know, like I said, I don't expect to get too many because I didn't schedule the live. A lot of people don't know I went live, and a lot of people are busy doing stuff. They're not even on the internet right now. But like I said, I was having so much trouble trying to upload Little Buddy's video that I just decided, well, I wanted to do this, and I don't want to spend all day trying to upload a video, so I'll just do it live. Here in Ontario, things are just starting. What time is it in Ontario right now? What time is it in Texas? It's 2:37 p.m. $3:37 p.m. Okay, that's not too bad. 2:37 in West Virginia. So y'all are an hour ahead of me. I need somewhere to put my phone above my camera or somewhere close to it so I can read the chat and it doesn't look like I'm looking completely away from the camera. Yeah, little buddy has a very good temperament. He has a great personality. He reminds me so much of Crybaby that I used to have years ago, my orange tabby. He was about 15 years old when he passed, and it broke my heart because he was like losing a member of the family. Oh, we got a Lori in here. Good afternoon, Lori. You almost got by me without me seeing you. Ashley from Missouri. Gail Mitchell from Colorado. Well, we got a lot of different areas represented here today. 1:37 in Colorado. Yeah, you're what, 2 hours earlier? You're like California, 2 hours behind us. Upstate Nana, hello. Oh yeah, Upstate Nana, you almost got by me. I didn't see you. Welcome, Upstate Nana. Glad to have you. Got 16 in here now so far. Only got 7 thumbs up. Y'all give me some thumbs up. I know that you haven't watched what I'm going to do yet, but still. Okay, Bloomin'. She's already thumbed up. Yeah, hit the like button. Lori's got a gray cat that weighs 24 pounds. That's a pretty good sized cat. Yeah, wow. He's a pretty good sized cat. He's fed good. He has a good appetite. You give him diet food and he still gains weight? Well, they always say you eat enough of anything and you'll put on some weight. So maybe he's eating too much diet food. Patricia, welcome aboard. Glad to see you made it. Like I said, I wasn't expecting too many people because, I didn't notify anybody that I was going live. And like I said, I had so much trouble uploading Little Buddy's video this morning that I just decided to go live so I wouldn't have to spend all afternoon and evening trying to upload this video. Patricia, you're from South Carolina. Well, welcome aboard. We've got a lot of states represented here. Oh, Lori, your cat's 8 years old. Well, my cat, Crybaby, was about 15, a little over 15 years old when he died. But that's pretty old in cat years, I'm told. So he lived a good, long, healthy life. Yeah, 24 pounds is a hefty sized cat. Notice I turned that overhead light off. It was just too glaring and too bright. It was like I was under a spotlight, so I said, I'm going to try it without that light on. Brenda's from Georgia, but lived in Texas for a while. What part of Texas did you live in, Brenda? Her cat should only weigh about 2 pounds. Gail Mitchell is aboard. Oh, your cat's 20 pounds. Yeah, he's not happy on cutting down food. Yeah, they don't usually like it when you try to cut their food down. They want what they want to eat. Yeah, there's not many cats that like it when you take some of their food away from them. You've got a miniature Yorkie that's a porker, weighs 17 pounds. Oh my goodness, blooming. Is Claire leaving us? I keep seeing people saying bye, Claire. I guess she's got things to do or places to be. She may be at work or something. Yeah, I saw that. So I figured she's got things she's got to do. She just called us by accident. I guess he's not happy about that, Mardell. Okay, well, I think I'm going to go ahead and get started here. I'll try to keep up with the chat. I guess you can see that pretty well. First of all, I'm going to take some Jell-O banana cream. It's just the instant Jell-O brand. Put it in my bowl. Some of you may have already done this. I don't know. Some of you may not have not known to do it. So, anyway, that's why we're making ours today. And I've got some cold milk. You want cold milk, not hot. I'm going to put 2.5 cups of cold milk. There's 1, 2, 2.5 cups of cold milk. And I'm just going to take my whisker and whisk it around. Oh, we got Sharon Tate in here. Welcome aboard, Sharon. What state are you from, Sharon? And you just have to whisk this until it starts to thicken up. Sotheby's close to Pigeon Forge. Yeah, I've been to Graceland too, but I've never been to Dollywood. Some of my family have been to Dollywood several times. They go maybe one weekend out of almost every year before my mom passed away. I've been to Graceland too, Mardell. There was a whole line of people there the day I went. We were traveling to North Carolina, and I would not leave my husband alone because I was still married at the time. I think it was the first year we went home to North Carolina on vacation after we moved to Texas. And I've worried my husband to death. I said, we're stopping in Graceland. We got to stop in Graceland. I said, we're going to be too close there not to stop. So finally I talked him into stopping. And then we stood in line for hours because that line was all the way through the gate, down the street, almost a block long down the street. So we waited a pretty good while to be able to just walk through Graceland. We didn't get to go in the house at that point because it was not long after Elvis passed, and they didn't have the house open to tourists yet. But we did get to go around the grave and around the house and then back down the driveway and back out. Sharon's from California. From New York City originally, yeah. I've lived in New York for a while. My mom is actually from New York City, and so we spent my childhood going back and forth from North Carolina to New York. I was actually born in North Carolina. We moved back to New York when I was about 3. Lived in New York till I was probably 8 or 9, somewhere along in there, and then we moved back to North Carolina because my dad hated the city. He got out of the Navy after being in there for almost 13 years, and we moved to North Carolina, to his hometown. Are you saying Graceland opened in 1982, Mardell? I don't remember what year it opened for people to go through. Brenda's never been to Graceland. It's kind of neat in Graceland. He had a nice place there. Like I said, I've never been in the house, but I saw videos where Priscilla took people on a tour of the house. And it was really unusual. It was nice, but I thought it was kind of unusual. Oh, Mardell, you're keen on Elvis? And Brenda made my cube steak and gravy. I know it's good. I like cube steak gravy. You had the World's Fair in Knoxville, Tennessee in 1982. They have a state fair here in Texas up around Dallas every year with Big Tex. I went to it a couple of times, but a lot of people up there. That should be beat up enough. Now I'm going to take my pan. And you can use a square pan like this one, or you can use a bowl. It's up to you. I used to make my banana puddings in a bowl. A big glass dish that when I made them years ago. I just decided this time I'd do it. And I've got just the cheapo vanilla wafers, great value, the store brand for Walmart. I'm just going to line my pan with them. Oh, they smell so good. I love vanilla wafers. I love to take them and put peanut butter on them and eat them as a snack. Or sometimes I eat them just like they are. I looked at the name brand vanilla wafers, and oh my God, they're proud of those things as much as they want to charge people for them. Now we're just going to line the edges. The best I can. They keep wanting to fall over. Well, they're all falling over. And they probably will fall over when I try to put the bananas in it. Yeah, banana puddings used to be our favorite for Sunday dinner. Fried chicken and banana pudding. You had to have your banana pudding on Sunday. That was your special meal for the week, was Sunday dinner, or Sunday lunch. And I'm sure y'all have done this many times before, where you put your bananas in there on your banana pudding. Can't wait to see my harvest. Well, I tell you, if it don't get so hot, I've already got quite a few cucumbers out there if they continue to thrive. Some of them were not quite big enough to pick yesterday when I looked at them. And some of them are the littler cucumbers anyway. They're not supposed to be the big ones. And do you know these banana peelings are the best thing in the world for your compost? Or what I do sometimes, I'll take my banana peelings, I'll throw them in a blender, and I'll pulverize those banana peels. And then I pour them in a bucket of water. Or you can mix, it depends on how many peelings you have. If you got a lot, then you can mix those peelings in that you pulverized in your blender. You can put them in a 5-gallon bucket of water, or pour them in your compost tea bucket. Water your plants with it, and they love banana peelings. They thrive with banana peelings. They really do. And I think I'm going to put some of mine on some of my plants that are kind of yellow looking, and see if that is one of the problems. You can crush up eggshells and also use the banana peelings, and your plants will love you for it. Let's see. Now I'm going to put about half of my custard mixture just on top of my bananas and my vanilla wafers. And now I'm going to layer it with some more vanilla wafers. Yeah, I like the little cucumbers too. They're usually really crunchy and they're so good. Sometimes the bigger cucumbers get their seeds get a little hard. Oh, bananas don't last in your family? If you got kids and you buy bananas, they probably eat them before you can make anything with them. Barb says, I never had banana pudding with wafers. I have seen it, but never tried it. Oh, well, you don't know what you're missing, woman. You need to fix you a banana pudding with some vanilla wafers. You have not had anything that's any better than that in your life. I promise you. If I can get hold of these wafers. But I had what? I've got 6 bananas. I cut up 2.5 on the first layer. And then I'm going to put 2.5 on the top layer. If I can get my... You don't have to be exact with it. Got all those crumbs sticking to my fingers. So I could still go need a couple. Need one over there. And then cut up my bananas on this. This is a cool way to make banana pudding because you don't have to heat your oven up. Especially in the summertime, you don't have to heat the oven up, so therefore your kitchen doesn't get hot and fight against your central air. So I love making it this way in the summertime. Get all these banana slices to cooperate with me. But if you ever want a quick dessert, you know, and you don't want to spend hours in the kitchen, you don't want to heat the kitchen up, this is a great way to fix a banana pudding. So later, when I'm watering plants and stuff, I'll first put those peelings in my blender or my processor, and I'll just turn them into liquid almost. I'll mix them with my compost tea, and I'm going to water my plants with it, or especially the ones that they look like they need something. I may not have enough to water all of them with it this time, but every time I get bananas, I save those peelings, and my plants get those banana peelings because that's potassium, and especially rose bushes need potassium. So I assume if rose bushes need potassium the way they do, I said other plants do too. Now I'm going to put all of my pudding mixture on top of my pudding now. Just spread it around all over. And the other key to this is not to try to eat it right away. After you get that mixture on there, you need to put it in the refrigerator and leave it for a while, at least an hour or more. And what that's going to do, all of that custard is going to kind of soak into those crackers, those wafers, and make it almost like a cake. Now, let me see if I can find the topping. Because, yes, we got Cool Whip topping we're going to put on it, or whip topping. Make it even better. If I can get it open. Oh, that looks so good. And I'm just going to dollop some Cool Whip or whipped topping right on the top. Whipped topping instead of the meringue topping that I always made with the eggs when I made it the other way. Isn't that looking good, y'all? Do you make pickles? If you're talking to me, yes, I usually do. If I have too many cucumbers and zucchini and squash, I pickle them. Year before last, I had so many zucchini and squash and cucumbers. I was making pickles out of all of them. And zucchini and squash are really good made into a pickle. I made sweet pickles out of them. I think my son prefers the dill pickles, and I don't remember if I made any dill pickles last year. No, not last year, it was the year before. It was too hot on the garden last year for anything. So I didn't get too much of anything out of the garden last year. There was one year I had so many zucchini, so many squash. I made a bunch of pickles out of all of it, and I gave my neighbors jars of pickles. I don't think they had ever eaten pickles made with zucchini and squash, but they seemed to like them. And then I just kind of poke it up and make it look good. Because that's kind of the way I do my meringue when I make it out of egg whites. I'll make little peaks out of it so when you put it in the oven, it browns the top. I've got a stray piece of banana right there. Get in there. Covered up with whipped topping. But there you go, y'all. Don't that look good? That's my... Try to get a better angle of it somehow here. That's my banana pudding. I can't wait. Uh-oh. I almost hollered when the camera almost fell. But I'm going to put that in the refrigerator. And I'm going to leave it for about an hour or two before I even attempt to eat any of it. But look, you can see the pudding and the wafers on the side. Just looks so good. I mean, that looks good. Anybody would love to dig in that on a Sunday lunch. You've never had squash pickles, Sunny B? Well, you can slice them up long, like some people do their cucumbers, or you can cut them in rounds, like you do cucumbers, and make like the just sliced cucumber pickles. You can do your zucchini and your squash the same way. And I mix them all together. I'll put the zucchini, squash, and cucumbers all together and pickle them in the same jar. And they make really good pickles. They make good dill pickles or sweet pickles, either one you want to make. No, I'm not. Patricia, I'm not having company. That's the reason I hated to make this banana pudding. I probably should have waited till the weekend and went to my son's and let him eat it. But I don't know who it was that requested a banana pudding, but that's why I'm making it. It was a request for me to make a video on making the banana pudding. No, I'm probably going to freeze part of it or something. It'll take me 2 weeks to eat all this banana pudding. You shred your zucchini and freeze it for bread. Yeah, you can do that. I've frozen zucchini before. Like I said, I used to have a small deep freeze, but it went out on me and I've never replaced it. So all I have now is the freezer to my refrigerator. So I'm limited on how much stuff I can store in the freezer. A good video to make on pickles. Well, I might do that if I get enough cucumbers. If I get enough cucumbers and squash and zucchini, I may do that. I mean, that was my intentions all along, in making starting a channel on gardening, composting in place, and cooking what you grow is, doing the pickles and all that stuff. Because, last year I made a video on the jalapeno peppers or the hot peppers, how I made my cowboy candy. I'm going to get a stool here and sit down. Kind of put it up here so I can halfway see the chat. But I want you to still see this, so let's see. Move some stuff out of the way. You can still see the banana pudding. Look over here and see my chat. It was Gladys. Oh yeah, Gladys, I remember now. You asked for the banana pudding and I think meatloaf and mashed potatoes and the full meal. Well, I did make the meatloaf, or I showed you how I make it. Oh, it is good. And I still got a piece in the refrigerator that I'm probably going to eat for dinner this afternoon or this evening. You mean to tell me you did not see the meatloaf video, Gladys? You were the one that requested it, and I did that for you. Well, you can always go back and watch it. Well, like I said, Gladys, it's a video, it's recorded, it's on my channel, so you can just go to Linda Hauser, and when you see my first picture and click on it, it'll give a list of all my videos below it, and it puts the most recent ones at the top of the list. So just scroll down a couple of videos and you'll find it. It's right there. Oh, the nurse was here. Okay. But yeah, it's still there. You can watch it, and then you can let me know what you think of it. You can watch the video and then make some comments below, and I'll see the comments. You always watch all my videos? Well, I'm happy to hear that. I've got about 360 videos to this day. It's a lot of them. I know a lot of people, they have watched the recent videos in the last few months, but they haven't seen some of the very first videos that I've done. That's okay, Gladys. Like I said, you can go back and watch it. I mean, it'll be stored forever on YouTube on my channel, so that's the good thing about the videos. You can go back and watch them anytime you have time to watch any of them. Yeah, that is a lot. I put them up there pretty fast. Well, I started videoing when I started my garden, and I wanted people to see how to build their totes and buckets with making their own garden soil. So I was showing them how to compost in place. because I wanted them to be able to get their totes built with their compost, their leaves, whatever we were putting in it. So they could sit there for several weeks and break down, let the ants get to them and do what they were going to do, and then it would be ready to plant in by the time planting time came. So I made videos pretty fast because I wanted people to see them in time for them to plant their gardens. Oh, Gladys, you saw my oatmeal cookies? Yeah, I love oatmeal cookies and I love peanut butter cookies. I think chocolate chip, peanut butter, and oatmeal are my favorite cookies. I'm reading the comments on my phone, y'all. That's the only way I can see them. I can't see them on the camera right now. But I'm getting in the way of y'all seeing my banana pudding. I want to entice you to make one. Well, like I said, Gladys, I've got a lot of videos. Just click on that first. When you put in my name, Linda Hauser, there may be some kind of video that shows at the top. But when you scroll down to the second one, it's just basically a picture of me. And if you click on my picture, it brings up my whole list of videos. And they're going to be in order with the most recent one at the top. So you can scroll down and watch any of those videos that you want to watch. They're all right there. I know this banana pudding looks good. I want to dig into it right now. But it's best if you let it set for at least an hour. And that those wafers will kind of soak up or absorb the pudding. And it tastes so much better when they're soaked with that vanilla pudding that we put in there. No bake cookies, one of my favorite cookies. I don't think I've done the no bake. I may have one time, but I know I haven't done a video on them. You saw me fishing? Yeah, and I want to go fishing again. I've been wanting to go, but my back's been bothering me, so I haven't went. But I really need to go. I need to catch a couple of fish to put in my compost tea buckets. It helps make good fertilizer. Yeah, I had been using fishy mulching, but you know, a lot of people that have farms, and especially years ago, people would catch fish, and when they made the rows in their garden to plant in, they threw fish all along the bottom of those rows. And then they put dirt on top, and then they planted their seed on top of that. So when those seeds put down roots, they got down into that broken down fish, and it was fertilizer. And it worked great. I mean, it makes the and you can do food scraps that way. Prepare your garden bed if you're planting in the ground. Make your rows. Put your food scraps in. Put your fish in. All that in your rows. Cover it up with dirt and just let it sit there for weeks and weeks. I mean, you can do it any time of the year. And then in the springtime, when you're ready to plant, those fish and those food scraps will be broke down, and it makes the that soil so rich that your plants will grow and produce like crazy. You love it when I take a bite? Well, I'd have to pause my video and make you wait for an hour or two before I take a bite of banana pudding because it's not ready to dig into yet. You also like iced tea drinks? I do too. My favorite, I think, though, is lemon, or I'll make an iced tea and I'll put a lot of lemon because I love lemon. I mean, I've drank lemonade all my life, I think, and it's good for you too. It's especially good for you in this heat that we have. And like I said, we're going to have like 110, not 110, but it's going to get over 100 next week. It was supposed to do that this week, but we had the storms blow in, and that cooled down the temperatures quite a bit. But next week, it's going to be over 100 for like 4 or 5 days. Let me get this phone. Some salesman calling. That's the only calls I get, except for the emergency numbers or the emergency line. They'll call me and let me know that there's a severe warning for bad weather. Or if there's a tornado, they'll call me and they warn people through the phone. But other than that, I usually, all my calls are sales calls, calls wanting me to sign up for some burial plan or insurance, Medicare, you name it. And it kills me. I got this one woman that'll call me, and she said, "This is so-and-so, and you asked me to return your call, so I'm calling you." And I've told her every time she's called that I've never asked that woman to call me. And I haven't. I've not asked that woman to call me at all. But I guess they think when you get up in age, you don't know, you don't remember. So you'll stay on the phone because you think, well, maybe I did tell her to call me. But I know I didn't. Linda Franz from Richmond, Virginia. Well, welcome, Linda. I'm glad you made it today. We've already fixed our banana pudding, but you can go back and watch the replay of it, I guess, and see how we did it. It does. I mean, they make fertilizer that you buy in the store out of fish scraps, all kind of animal scraps. You know, cows, you name it, manure, all that kind of stuff is just all ground up together, dehydrated, and you get it in a powder form called fertilizer. But yeah, there's a lot of fish in that. So why not catch your own fish and make your own fertilizer with it? I just usually throw mine right in my compost tea buckets. They'll break down in there. In this Texas heat, it only takes them a few days to break down. Those fish will actually cook in that bucket. That water gets so hot. And then it starts breaking down. And then it's great to water your plants with. And I throw my leaves and other stuff right in that compost tea bucket, right with the fish. But I haven't got any fish to put in there since last summer. So I need to go fishing and see if I can catch me some fish. Usually if they're too small to cook, but they're big enough to keep, I'll throw them in my buckets. They're big enough to cook. I'm going to fillet them and cook those and throw the carcass in the buckets, and they can do two things for me. They can feed me and make compost tea as well. Yeah, like last summer, it stayed 105, almost 110 all summer long with almost no rain. So my garden suffered. It didn't produce hardly anything. It just got too hot on it. A lot of my plants died. My grape and cherry tomatoes were the only thing basically that survived all summer. And they're hardy. They'll produce all summer long. Where my other tomato plants, a lot of them died. They were too hot. So I planted a lot of grape tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, and I do have the Roma tomatoes, the delicious tomatoes, you know, the bigger ones. So when it starts getting too hot, they'll probably die. But a lot of them get a lot of shade, so that helps. And usually I'll get one big crop off of those big tomatoes before they'll die. Shelly's got heavy rains this morning. Yeah, I had to go check mine because that last video, you know, I did get that hornworm off of that one tomato plant. And then I had to straighten up some of my tomato plants where the wind blew them over. And most of those were the cherry or grape tomatoes, the indeterminate ones that grow 12 foot tall. Yeah, it's that time of year. I've only seen one horn run warm. Get the marbles out of my mouth, I can talk, can't I? I've only seen that one hornworm so far this summer on that one tomato plant, but since I saw him, I'm going to be watching the other plants as I walk through the garden and be on the lookout for that, because it only takes them one night to devour a plant. Like last year, I got one on one of my plants and I didn't know it was there. I went out there that next morning and he'd eat half of that tomato plant. I mean, half of it was gone. He just stripped those. Can I show? Okay. There it is. Whipped topping on top, vanilla wafers, bananas, and vanilla cream. Y'all have a bite. Get your spoon and dig in. Oh, Teresa Foreman made it. Shelly Edwards made it. Glad to see you, Teresa. We've already fixed our banana pudding, but you can go back and watch the video replay if you want and see how we did it. I don't know how long we've been on here. Does anybody know? It is yummy, and I can't wait to dig into it myself. Well, no, you don't necessarily pineapple upside down cake, or you do a banana. You can't sit down and eat that whole thing in one meal. You got to pace yourself. I think it was the pineapple in the refrigerator that never did get to finish because it was too much. Been on here 1 hour. Well, that's doing pretty good. Didn't take too long to make the banana pudding. Yes, I need to put it in the refrigerator. But I kept it out because I wanted it to be on the screen. And I've moved it out of the screen, I think. Wanted people to still be able to see it. Got all my banana peelings here. Get those out of the way. Yeah, when you make the banana pudding the easy way like I just did, when you get it done to this point, you need to put it in the refrigerator. It needs to stay in the refrigerator for at least an hour before you try to eat it. And it gives the vanilla pudding time to absorb into the vanilla wafers, and it makes it real good like that. I might do that, or I might video me taking a bite of it tonight and add it to my video tomorrow. Yeah, I might do that. Whatever video I do tomorrow, maybe I'll put that in the end of it or the beginning of it or something. No, she didn't know beforehand, but Blooming's in here somewhere, or she was. She was in chat earlier. I assume she's still in here. Does anybody know if Bloomin' is still in chat? She may have left. I don't know. Yeah, I know Bloomin' was here earlier. She may have had to get off for some reason. You never know. I'll share it with you. Mrs. Weaver, you made it. We just got through making a banana pudding the easy way. So if you didn't get in and see any of that earlier, you can always watch the replay of the video and you'll see how we put together an easy, quick banana pudding. Yeah, I didn't schedule it, Miss Weaver. That's why, I just picked up whoever happened to get notified and was able to click in. I was having so much trouble uploading a video for Little Buddy that I decided to go ahead while that was uploading and do this live, to go ahead and do this one, because I didn't want to spend all afternoon and evening uploading this video. So I just decided I'd go live with it. Yeah, that's the good thing about these videos. They're always stored on YouTube. They're always on my channel. So you can go back and watch any of them anytime you want. And like I was telling Gladys earlier, if you'll just put in my name and do a search in YouTube, my picture will come up the very first thing when my videos start, and it'll tell you how many videos I've got and that type of thing. And if you'll click on that picture, it brings up a whole list of all my videos. And they're in order. They have the most recent videos at the top. So you can start watching from the top down if you want. But you'll be able to watch any of my videos. And like I told Mardell earlier, I've got like almost 360, I think, videos on YouTube right now from the first day that I started. That's okay, Shelley. You can watch it. You can watch the replay. I mean, I have to apologize. I know a lot of people would rather be in the live if they could get there, but I hadn't planned on doing this live. I was going to record it and then upload it, but I was having so many problems uploading Little Buddy's video from this morning that I decided while that was uploading, I'd go ahead and do this live, so it would go ahead and be able to be viewed. Hey, Wilkes County boy, glad you can make it. We've already fixed our banana pudding, but you can go back and watch the replay of it. There's Bloomin'. Oh yeah, I told everybody, I said, well, something must have come up that you had to take care of because you were here, so. And I think the vanilla pudding custard that I mixed up, I don't think it has sugar in it. It's got a sweetener in it, so that cuts calories. And I'm going to make a cherry cheesecake coming up pretty soon, not tomorrow, not when I got this banana pudding here that's got to be eaten. But maybe next week I'll make the cherry cheesecake. And that'll be made with cherries, and it'll be low sugar. It's not going to be, it'll only have a fraction of the calories that a regular cheesecake would have. Yeah, when I do these cooking videos, you got to remember, I've got to eat all this stuff. So, I don't mind cooking it because I like to cook. I like to do the videos. But if it's something I can freeze, then, I can make a meal out of what I cook, and then I can freeze the rest and take it out other days. So I don't mind doing that. I don't know how well these bananas would freeze. They'll probably turn black. Yeah, that's funny, Bloomin'. Make me fat and not you because you're just watching. You don't have to eat this unless you turn around and make one. And then you might make it to take it to somebody else and not eat it yourself. Teresa's got to cut her husband's hair. Time for a haircut, huh? What did Mardell do? I missed that. Oh, hell, lost 65 pounds so far and can't believe how much I can do now. Well, that's great, Mardell. I had missed that comment. But like I said, when you make this banana pudding, the bananas are healthy. They're good for you. You can get a low-calorie whipped topping. You can get the low-calorie or no-sugar instant Jell-O vanilla pudding mix to put in it. So basically where your calories are going to come from are the wafers. And I don't think you'll get that much from just the wafers itself. So you can fix a good dessert and still be low calorie, low sugar, and still be able to be on a diet and lose weight. I know, Bloomin', it's hard to lose weight. I've lost weight one time before and it was hard. But you know what? I dieted. I drank sugar-free drinks. I did everything I could do to lose weight, and still I was gaining. So finally I decided the heck with it. I'm going to eat whatever I want. I'll drink whatever I want. And I lost 8 pounds. Lost 8 pounds, not even trying. But, you know, I try to watch what I eat. I don't try to overdo. I try to eat a lot of stuff out of the garden when it's producing to keep calories down and get the nutrients that your body needs. So yeah, sometimes you lose weight and not try, and other times the more you try, the more weight you gain. And you know, one thing I think about that is it's all mindset. Because when you try to lose weight and you try to change what you eat, that's when you just crave all this stuff that you know you don't need to be eating. That's when you want it the worst. Well, that's the way it worked with me. But I had lost down to like 100 pounds one time years ago. And my mom fussed at me. She said, "You need to gain weight. You look like you're going to blow away." I said, "Well, I feel great." And I was eating like a horse. But I went on this Mayo Clinic diet where you could eat all the vegetables you wanted. You could eat all the meat you wanted. But it had to be baked, broiled, grilled out, or sauteed in a pan with no oil. I don't know how they expect you to do that, but you can fix fish. You know, it comes out almost like a baked fish if you do it in a frying pan. But I ate no bread, no sugar, no butter. You know, I cut out all that. But I ate tons of vegetables. I ate tons of meat. But it was always the way they said to prepare it. And at first, I didn't think I was going to lose weight, and then all of a sudden, my weight started dropping. My clothes started getting too big for me. My husband, I was still married at the time, he accused me of being on drugs. That was why I was losing weight. And I said, "I'm not taking anything." But he said, "Yeah, you're taking drugs. That's the only way you could lose weight is if you're on drugs." So I said, "Well, you can't win for losing." He always fussed at me before that to lose weight. And I only weighed 128 pounds, 5'2", and 128 pounds. That was not fat. But I lost down to 100 pounds. I would find a size 1 in some stores. Most stores didn't have a size that small for women. And then it got to the place where a size 1 was too big. And I went to the little girls department and bought clothes that the teens would wear. That's where I found my sizes. because I couldn't wear anything of the ladies. It was all of it was too big. But I can't say that now because I gained all that weight back plus some. But like I said, I have lost about 8 pounds since my garden started producing and I started eating a lot of stuff. You know, the greens especially. Yeah, I'd go to the little girls department and I'd find skirts and blouses and dresses in the little girls department. Well, not little girls, in the teen sizes. Like I could wear their size 12 and 14 or 13 in girl sizes, where everything in the women's sizes were way too big. But it blew my mind. They used to have a 5, 7, and 9 shop. That's what it was called in Fort Worth, in Ridgemar Mall. They had a shop in there called that. And that meant all their sizes were 5s, 7s, and 9s. So I'd go in there and find clothes, and they'd fit. But pretty soon I lost so much weight, even their 5s would not fit. They were too big. My daughter, she was, 14 then, and she ended up being a little taller than me. And we were going somewhere to some school event one day, and we were walking down the sidewalk going to the car, and she walks up beside me and she kind of, turns her head and looks at me and she says, "Mama, you look like an 11-year-old boy because you don't even have a butt big enough to fill out your jeans." I had no boobs, no butt, no nothing. I was just straight as a stick. Yeah, I was little. But I felt great. Like I said, I was eating a lot of food. I felt great. I had tons of energy not to be eating sugar. But everybody kept telling me, you got to gain weight, you need to gain weight. So finally, I forced myself to start eating fatty foods. I remember I love chocolate cake. That's my favorite cake, is chocolate. And the first time I tried to eat a piece of chocolate cake, I put a piece in my mouth, a forkful in my mouth. I had to spit it out. It was like putting a tablespoon of pure sugar in my mouth. I couldn't eat it. And I tried to bite into a chicken leg, a fried chicken leg. And it was like pure grease. I couldn't eat it. It was awful. And I said, I couldn't believe I loved fried chicken and I loved chocolate cake, and I can't even eat it now. But after about a month of forcing myself to try to eat a little bit here and a little bit there, I got back into eating regular food, and I started gaining my weight back, which I wish I'd never done. And now I don't have the willpower to go back on that diet. I know they do have good chocolate cake, and they've got the best hot fried chicken you'll ever get anywhere. I love Walmart's fried chicken that you can get back in the deli. In fact, I bought a carton of their fried chicken yesterday. I make a big grocery haul once a month. And sometimes I give in and I'll buy one of their cartons or containers of fried chicken and bring it home, and I eat it for a week, but that is the best chicken. That's like eating dessert to me, is to be able to sit down and eat their fried chicken. Yeah, you got to try that chicken. It's good. Their roast-a-tear chickens are good too, but I'd rather have the fried chicken, the one I know I shouldn't be eating. Sometimes I'll alternate. Sometimes I'll get the fried chicken one month. The next month I may get a roast-a-tear chicken. And you can buy it already cooked like that for basically what you'd have to buy a whole chicken for now. I mean, everything's so expensive. And I said, well, I love their chicken, so why not, if I'm going to have fried chicken, just go ahead and buy the chicken already made. That's like a, a reward for me once a month is to get some of their fried chicken. Wilkes County boy, you lost 55 pounds in 6 months by only eating salads and baked taters back in 2014. Well, that sounds good because I love taters. I had home fries for dinner last night, but I fry them in just a little bit of olive oil. I don't drench them in oil anymore. No, I've never tried to make homemade ice cream. I bought my dad one of those ice cream makers years ago when they first became popular and Walmart started selling them. And everybody was buying those little homemade ice cream makers. So I bought my dad one for Christmas one year. And my mom said he went crazy. He opened it and he saw what it was. He ran to the store. He went everywhere to get all the ingredients he needed to fix him some ice cream. And he sat down there that afternoon and made ice cream. She said it was good, but it took a lot to make it, you know. Time, that is, you know, and you had to have just the right ingredients of stuff to put in it. Oh, buffalo wings. I love them too, but I never make them. I don't know why, but I don't ever make buffalo wings. Sometimes I'll be in Walmart. Not very often. It's kind of like my fried chicken. Maybe once every 3 or 4 months. I might see a small carton of some of their chicken wings, the barbecue chicken wings or hot wings, and I'll buy just a little bitty package of them. Maybe have 6 of the hot wings in it. But I don't do that as often as I buy the fried chicken. I might. I don't know. Like I said, I've never tried to make them, so I don't know. I'll have to check on the recipe and how to do it. Now, a friend of mine, he had one of these cookers, electric cookers. It looked like a cooler. It looked like a big 18-quart cooler that you put drinks in, but it was a cooker, a slow cooker. He invited me over to a big cookout he was having at his house one day, him and his wife. And he had I don't remember what it was, but he caught he had exposure to some kind of chemical at Comanche Peak Nuclear Power Plant. And it did something to his immune system. So he couldn't eat a lot of different foods that he always ate before. If he did, his face would swell up like a balloon. And so he started growing his own garden and cooking a lot of his own food just so he knew that he would not be eating what the doctors told him he needed to stay away from. So he was fixing those hot wings that day, or chicken wings. And he had that big 18-quart cooler about 3/4 full of chicken wings. And it was really weird the way he did it. He just poured all of his ingredients in that cooler, stirred it all around. That's how he coated those wings. Put the lid on it, set the timer, and it slow cooked for a couple of hours before we even got there, because it was still cooking when I got there. And those were the best chicken wings I've ever eaten in my life. They were so good. But he said, I had to grow my own vegetables, and I had to get chickens so I could get the chicken eggs, so I knew what the chickens ate, because I couldn't eat store-bought chicken eggs because you didn't know what the chickens were fed. And, you know, whatever those chickens are fed is partially in those eggs, I guess. So he was in a bad way there for a while. No, they have not. And I had Amazon deliver a small item here at my house today at the same door where the boxes are sitting. He just looked at them, left my package, and walked off. But he's a delivery. He don't pick up stuff, so I guess they use ups just for pickups. So no, they didn't pick it up. It's still leaning up beside the house. So we may luck out with this. I don't know. If they don't pick up by Friday, you'll call again? Yeah, if they don't pick up again by Friday, yeah. Yeah, I'll let you know. I mean, we communicate all the time, so you'll know if they don't pick them up Friday. If they don't and it works out the way you said, it might be Christmas for both of us. Oh, Patricia. Oh, I got frizzy hair. It's naturally curly, and it if I'm in North Carolina, the humidity there, it makes it curl up a lot more. And that's one thing I noticed when we first moved to Texas, the dry climate here makes my hair straighten out a little bit. But it's 74% humidity today, so my hair is frizzy. Most people call you Patty except on YouTube. Yeah, I like it too. It's not working right now, and I need to get it to the shop and get it fixed because first that pendulum quit swinging, and then all of a sudden the clock itself stopped working. So my son said, well, Mom, you just ought to get rid of it. It don't work. I said, well, it can be fixed. If I could find someone I could trust to fix it. I could probably fix the clock part of it myself because I could probably replace the clock in it or the part that, runs. But I don't know about the pendulum that swings in the bottom. Yeah, I know. I've just heard of grandfather clocks, but I said mine is not real big, so I don't know if you called it a grandfather clock or I guess a grandmother clock because it's smaller. Are the weights working? Nothing moves on it, Mardell. The pendulum, the thing quit swinging, so nothing is working. I don't remember seeing weights on it. But it had that pendulum, that round disc that would swing back and forth. But it stopped. And right after that is when the clock stopped. Most of the people, your friends call you Snag. Okay, Wilkes County boy, there's got to be a story behind that name. What's the story behind you being called Snag? Probably me and a lot of other people want to know about that name, Snag. How'd you ever get that name, Wilkes County boy? He may not want to tell us. Well, I'm going to take a minute and put my banana pudding in the refrigerator so it'll get cold. There, I got it put in the refrigerator so my banana pudding will get cold. And I'll be able to take a bite of it later on. Get this thing fixed. Yeah, Bloomin' is a cool name. I think she's the first one on YouTube that I've seen with the name of Bloomin', their handle. Yeah, see how frizzy my hair is? It's 74% humidity today, so my hair is just frizzing all up. I have not seen a reply from Wilkes County boy on how he got the name of Snag. I mean, I would love to know that. I got the nickname when I was just little. I mean, little, running around from diapers till I was about 3 or 4. Even my uncles would call me by that name. They call me Stinky. And one of my uncles, when he was still alive, he called me that to the very last time I ever saw him. He was, I was 40 or 50 some years old, and he still called me that just for fun. But they started calling me that because I'd wet my diaper, wet my pants, wet the bed. So I got the nickname of Stinky. Or thank goodness I don't do that now. Yes, Mardell, I did. When we first came to Texas, or before we came to Texas, my ex-husband, who was my husband at the time, had a CB in his truck, his pickup, and he bought me a CB for my car. And his handle was Dutchman, and mine was Duchess. So it was the Dutchman and the Duchess. And I had it for years after I moved to Texas, but I never used it. I never had anybody to talk to out here. So I traded my car one time and got rid of the CB. And then years and years later, some of the high school kids started talking about getting a CB in their car or in their truck. That was the hot thing going, was having a CB in your vehicle. And I said, well, I had one for years and I got rid of it. And he looked at me like, well, lady, can't believe you had a CB and you got rid of it in your car. But like I said, I never used it. Oh, your hair does the same thing, Teresa? Yeah, if you got curly hair, your hair will frizz in the summertime when it's humid. Mardell, your stepdad called you Stinky. So is your, do you have a CB, Mardell? Is that how you ended up with your name of Snag? Was it a CB handle? Mardell's asking where. I don't know what he means by where. WCB, we are, Wilkes County Board, we are waiting. Yeah, we're waiting. We want to know how you got the name of Snag. Oh, my nose itches. Yeah, I know Mardell's a woman, but how did you ever get the name of Snag? Well, no, I didn't know that. I thought Wilkes County Boy was a guy. So I'm wrong. But I still want to know how they got the name of Snag. Got it years ago. Oh, you just made up the name and you used it on Xbox Live? Okay. So you just kind of, the name stuck with you. That's what I thought. Wilkes County Boy is a guy, and Mardell is a female, to my understanding. We're getting them both confused, y'all. Y'all are drinking or something, or you you getting me confused. I think I had watched a couple of the videos for Wilkes County Boy, and I know that was a guy's voice I was hearing. Yeah, I thought so, Wilkes County Boy. Yeah, I did it first, and then I realized later that no, Mardell is a female. That's my man Elvis for my picture, Mardell. Yeah. Yeah, that's what kind of threw me off when I first started seeing the name Mardell Lamb. I wasn't sure at first if it was a man or a woman because of the Elvis picture. Because I said it could be a woman with the Elvis picture because of the women liking Elvis. But then I said it could be a guy because maybe they wanted to look like Elvis or something. But I realized later that Mardell's a woman. That's my man's picture, Elvis. Yeah. Yep, she is a sweet lady. We make a video just on the live chat and the live videos. We've probably been on here for about an hour and a half or so, haven't we? I don't know. I don't want to keep holding y'all up if you got other things to do. We can end the video anytime you want. I know every time I've tried to end my videos before, some of the chatters said, no, stay in the chat, stay on the live. Because I think you just like chatting back and forth with one another. And I like watching the chats. Oh. You fell asleep, blooming. I know we were on there pretty late. Yeah, I found all the people in these chats are really nice people. You had a rough day, Mardell? Yeah, well, that's one reason I like to do the lives is I can get people in the chat and I can, feel like I'm talking back and forth to them. It's not like just talking to the camera because I do get responses from people. And I'm here by myself most of the time. So it gives me people to talk to. I feel like I'm talking to someone, even though I have to look at the chat to get your responses. It's still almost like you're right here with me. And that's what I like about it. Okay, Bloomin', well, you can go. I'm going to end this video in just a minute anyway because we've been on here long enough. And I know all these people have other stuff to do, places maybe to be, or things they want to do, and I'm just holding them up. Wilkes County Boy says, just sit. Well, Wilkes County Boy, if you got animals that you can video and they're, a lot of times videoing your animals they make good videos. Just like the video that I uploaded this morning. I don't think it's been posted yet, but that's mainly of little Buddy. He came in the house this morning snooping around wanting breakfast, and I fed him and started videoing him. He got into something, and he had these little soft sticker spur things all over his fur. So I got the brush and started brushing him and had it, I videoed it all. I mean, he likes that, but I don't know what he got into, but he had those little things all over him. See, Gladys says, Linda, don't go. So, no way to climb a ladder, and I witnessed her doing just that last week. She's a go-getter. Yeah, I kind of paid for it a little bit after I did all that, putting up that shade cloth. It irritated my lower back, and I took it easy for a day or two after that. Yeah, Wilkes County Boy, you're correct. This is like having a good fellowship with your people that subscribe to your channel. Bloomin' Mart and Mardell sent you a beautiful card, Gladys. Well, that's nice. Yeah, one reason I wanted to try this with my phone and the camera is to see if it worked good together. So sometime if I wanted to film out in the yard live and I needed to see the chat, I would have my phone in my hand so I could read the chat, and I'd still be able to be outside without taking my laptop or iPad or something out there with me. Oh, Mardell made the card she sent. I used to make all my cards that I sent out, and I still do some of them. Yeah, there was several years I'd make my own cards, and I'd make the cutest little cards to send to my granddaughter when she was younger. You know, sometimes you can't find just exactly the right card that you want in the store. So I'd come home and I'd just put a card together that I wanted. And, oh, I'm getting a severe thunderstorm watch from my area again. So we still may be hit by a thunder boomer. Last night a storm rolled through and it did rain a little bit, but thank goodness we didn't get any wind and we didn't get hail. And I know there was places in Texas around me, and at my son's where he lives, which is about an hour and a half away. He was getting quarter-size hail at his house, and he said not far from his house they reported but baseball size hail. So you know that did some damage, because he said it hailed, that little hail at his house for like off and on for 3 days. They got it for 3 different days, and he got his I think one car and the new pickup in under the garage, because he's got a separate big barn type garage, and then he's got a garage built into the house. So he got his new car in the garage at the house, and then he put his truck in the other garage. But then he's got this older pickup that he's had forever, and he just had to park it under a tree because there was nowhere to get it in the garage at, because the tractor and everything else was in there. So he said, I know that Nissan got beat up a little bit. But I said, hopefully not too bad, since he had it under all the trees. You know, those tree limbs do block a lot of that hail. And by the time it hits the vehicle, it's broken the fall, so it's not hitting it as hard. So hopefully that helped. Bloomin', what are you talking about? You got to sneak up on a glass of water to get a drink. I've heard that expression before. I don't know. I mean, I know that the tarp protectors help from dust and everything else, but something hitting it, like quarter size hail or baseball size hail, I don't know if a cover tarp would help at all. Because it would still hit that tarp with a force that it would probably dent your vehicle. That's one reason I put up my carport years ago. I bought a brand new Buick Regal, a limited edition, and it got $2,300 worth of hail damage. It had little dents all over the top, the roof. It had it on the hood, the rear end. It broke one of the side mirrors, and it cost $2,300 to get it repaired. So after that, I put up a carport, and I said, well, if it's not big enough to come through that carport, it's not going to hit the car. So, and until now, I've not had any damage to my car from hail, not while it's here at my house, but when I was still working right after I bought this Nissan I've got now, the silver one, or metallic, gun metallic as it's called. I had it parked in the parking lot at work, and it come up a storm, and it dropped hail, and it did hail damage to my car. I mean, you had to look at it just right across the top of it to see it, but it did do hail damage, and I had to get it fixed because it was a brand new car. So I know, baseball size hail, if you're outside in the yard and that hits you on the head, it could kill you, give you brain damage for sure. I mean, there was one year up here in Dallas that they showed on the news where softball size hail was falling up there. And some of those brick homes, that baseball hail hit with such force, it came through the roof of the house. And it showed the baseball size hail sitting in the carpet of the living room of this house. I said, thank God it didn't hit anyone. I've seen some the size of a good size marble, maybe quarter size hail, but it didn't fall very much and not for long, thank goodness, and I was inside. And I praise God, as much hail as we've had in Texas here, that I have not had any of my windows broken out in my house by hail. Never saw big ones, huh? Well, it's a good thing, Mardell, maybe that you haven't seen big pieces of hail falling, because it's dangerous. One of the supervisors on a job that I worked on one time left here and drove 20 miles down the highway to go somewhere to pick up something. And he already knew there was hail warnings out. There was storm warnings with possible pretty good size hail. Well, he figured, well, it's going to rain, the wind's going to blow, and that'll be all. Well, he drove down that 20-mile distance to go where he was going. And you know what? The hail fell hard enough that it broke the rear view window out of his vehicle. And he said, well, that made a believer out of me from now on. He said, when they mention hail falling or give you a warning that it's going to fall, he said, I'm getting under cover. I'm not going anywhere. Yeah. It's always good to get warnings because I don't want to be driving out there in hail. No, the hail was not quite big enough that it broke any of my windows, but the hail that hit the car was big enough, and it hit enough that it put little tiny dents, just little bitty ones, in my car. I mean, you could look at it just right and you wouldn't even see a dent. But if you got up even with the top of the car, where your eye, like eye level with the top, you could see the little bitty dents across it. And I said, well, that's enough that if you ever wanted to sell the car or do anything with it, that they'd want you to reduce the price if they saw it. And since it was under warranty and it was covered with insurance and all that, I just went ahead and got it fixed. Oh, my nose is itching. I think he already told you. You had baseball size hail hitting your windshield driving about 25 years ago. Oh my God. Did it break your windshield out? Mardell, you're going to kiss a fool, Linda? What do you mean by that? I missed some of these chats, I guess, because I don't know what you mean by that, Mardell. Oh, that's what you're talking about with my nose itching? I always heard if your nose itches, somebody was talking about you. Or if you got a chill, just a little quick chill, shiver, that you stepped over somebody's grave. And it doesn't matter where you're at. I'm sure you stepped over somebody's grave no matter where you're walking. Because hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago, you don't know who was buried under where you're standing. Oh no! Wilkes County boy just heard or found out a friend of his was found dead at his house today. Bye, Wilkes County boy. Sorry to hear that. That's terrible. That sounds like something that happened to my neighbor over here that lives on the next street. He just bought this house, moved in with a girl that grew up in this neighborhood. They moved here to help her parents because they were elderly. And he had just won the lottery. I mean, he just won $12.5 million in a lottery. And I didn't know, but before that, he'd won the lottery about 3 other times. And some people couldn't understand why they bought the house over here instead of building a really nice home. And they said it was because they wanted it in a hurry. They wanted to go ahead and be able to move here and not have to spend months building a house because they wanted to be with her parents. And they were only living over there for about a year when one of his friends walked up on his front porch and found him dead. I don't know if he had a heart attack, a stroke, or what, but he was laying on the porch when his friend walked up. It did bust your windshield. I figured that big, it had to do some pretty bad damage to your vehicle. That would have been terrifying driving in that. I think I would have had to pull over and stop at least. I mean, it still would have broke through the windshield and done damage to the car, but yeah, I tried to make friends with him, but I guess he had been bothered by so many people that found out that he had won the lottery, and they were just trying to make friends with him because he had money, thinking they could get some of it. And he thought I was the same way, I guess. But honest truth, I did not even know this man won the lottery once, much less 3 or 4 times. So I was just being neighborly. I used to get out, walk around the street, just for exercise for my back. And I saw them out there digging and building, and I didn't know what they were doing. And I just walked up and introduced myself just to get to know who was moving in or who'd moved in. And he just took offense. I mean, the first thing that come out of his mouth, well, I guess I just won $12.5 million. It's like, well, no, I didn't. Had no idea you won any money. And it would not have made any difference to me if he had. I would not have been over there to introduce myself because he just won the lottery. I could have cared less. It was his money. But that happened to my daughter's first husband's cousin. He won the lottery one year, and he won like, I don't know, It was the year that 5 businessmen in Dallas pooled together, and they pooled their money together and they bought tickets every week. Well, her husband's cousin bought a couple of tickets every week too. He wasn't pooled with them, he bought them individually. And their ticket won and his ticket won. So that meant that the jackpot was split 50-50. You know, he got half and the half went to the 5 businessmen. And he won some outrageous amount, I mean millions, to the point when they went to talk to the attorney on investing it and how to keep the money safe and that type of thing. The first thing that attorney told them was, because it was a young couple, she had just started teaching in elementary school, something she loved to do, and that's what she planned to do all her life, was be a teacher for elementary students. First thing he told her to do, she had to quit her job. Well, she was just floored because she didn't want to quit her job. She loved doing it. But he told her, he said, you can't work in a public entity like that because people in that school, the parents will find out that you won the lottery, that you got all this money, and you're going to start getting lawsuits left and right. They're going to claim you hurt their kid, or you did this to their kid, or you did that to their kid, just for you to settle out of court and pay them some money, regardless of whether she did anything or not. You know how it is. So she quit her job, and I think her husband quit his job too. They bought a ranch way, way out in the middle of nowhere, and they've got 24-hour security around the perimeter of the fence and everything, and they've had to move out there. But that's what happened to him. Everybody under the sun, I mean, people coming out of the woodwork, when they found out he got that money, they were calling him, they were trying to see him, they were introducing themselves as their second or third or fourth cousin. And I guess just wanting to know him because he had all this money, or hoping some of the money would rub off on them, or he would give them some or something. But he said it was terrible. You wouldn't believe the money that call you and the people that will end up knocking on your door just because you won the lottery. Yeah, it's the truth. I said, well, if I won, I would like to win anonymously. I would not want anybody to know that I won the lottery. But I'm not sure they let you do that. I'm not sure if they will let you win anonymously, you know, because that's big publicity for people to buy lottery tickets, is to know that someone's won a big amount of money. I might give a little bit to the poor, but it depends on what poor get it. I definitely keep a lot of it for myself. I might give some to my family. I don't know. But I think if I gave money to the poor, I would hand it to them face to face. I wouldn't give it to these communities that say they help the poor, because a lot of that money goes in some people's pockets that it doesn't belong in. So y'all talking about giving you some, oh, the money. Yeah, Bloomin', I'd give you some if I won. I've never won anything big on the lottery. I won some money on scratch-offs a few times. I think I bought 10 $1 tickets in the scratch-off lottery. And I won like $43 off of those 10 tickets. So that's the most I ever won. And then I bought some tickets on the big lottery. And I won $3. Because I think I had 4 numbers correct. And my son, on his job, all the guys pool their money together, and they let my son hold it, and he buys the tickets every week. And then if they win small, they put it back in the pot and rebuy tickets the next week. So every week they can buy more and more tickets. And he said if they won great big, they would divide it up between all the workers that pitched in. But he says so far they've not won anything great big. Most of the time it's an amount that they say just put it in the pot and buy that many more tickets with it, Bloomin says she'd buy a Mardella ranch, a rescue ranch where she could rescue animals that have been abused. Well, that sounds like a good thing to do. I'd rescue myself first. But yeah, I can understand doing something like that. That would be a neat thing to do. Have a animal ranch. Well, guys, I've got other things to do. Like I said, when I get ready to take that banana pudding out and eat it, I'll video it and add it to one of my other videos that I post. Because I'm not taking it out right now. It hasn't been in there long enough. Teresa, stop disability. Oh, no. Is Teresa Foreman on disability? Let's see. I need to play the lottery. I can't win if I don't play. These medical bills piling up. I have to do something. They stop letting people get on disability who are disabled. Well, that's terrible. How can they stop your disability if you're disabled? I know they stopped mine because years ago when I was diagnosed with cancer, which was a bad diagnosis, it wasn't a correct. They just automatically, my doctor put me on disability. Well, I stayed on disability for a couple of years going through all that turmoil and chemo and all that stuff because it knocked out my immune system. I couldn't go out in public. But later, I couldn't live on that disability check. I mean, it didn't pay my bills. So I went back to work. And not long after I went back to work, they said, well, you've turned 65. You're old enough to retire. And they said, since you're working, we're going to go ahead and switch you to regular disability, retirement disability. But see, when they do that, you lose your Medicaid, all of your medical benefits and everything. They put you on regular Medicare, which is okay, but then you got to get your supplement. So I ended up having to get a supplement to Medicare because I am on regular retirement Social Security now. So you have to pay, I pay like $200 a month just for that supplement that pays the 20% that Medicare doesn't pay. So sometimes I wonder if I'm going to have enough to pay that. Because, my check is not an outrageous amount. That's one reason I'd pick up odd jobs, like at Lowe's, temporary seasonal jobs, and at Big Lots and different places, and work through their holiday season or their summer season, because it let me work for a while, a couple of months, get some money behind me to keep my bills going, and then I'd be off for a little bit and take a vacation kind of, and then I could go back to work the next seasonal jobs that were open. But I haven't worked on any of those jobs in over a year now. No, it doesn't sound right. If you're on disability and you have not been working on a public job and you're still disabled, the doctor didn't say you were not disabled anymore. How can they just stop your disability? I mean, I wouldn't think they could do that. Did they stop your disability and put you back on regular Social Security if you were old enough to retire? That's me. That's all I get. I had a little bit of a savings account behind me, and then I'm living on a Social Security retirement check. That's all I get every month. And that's why I picked up those little jobs on the side, once in a while. So I didn't have a permanent job. I didn't have to work every single day for a whole year, the next year and on. I only worked seasonal. And usually it was like through the Christmas season which started, I may work 4 or 5 months, and then I'd work through the summer months on a seasonal job at some of the stores, like at Lowe's. I worked the summer seasonal job with them. Yeah, I used to have the disability. I don't have that anymore. Because like I said, I went back to work, and they said, since you're working a full-time, as long as you've been on that job, she said, we need to put you on retirement Social Security, and we're going to take you off of disability. So that's what they did. So I don't get anything but my Social Security check and what little bit I might make off of a video, which most of the time isn't a whole lot. Teresa, have you tried going to court? That happened to some friends of mine, the sweetest couple. I think I mentioned them in previous videos, Patsy and Jesse. Patsy tried to get put on disability one time. They kept denying her disability. They said she's not disabled. And she went to court one time, and she told the judge, she said, I'm physically disabled. I can't hold down a full-time job. I can't hold down a part-time job. Because most of the jobs she'd get, they'd want her to stand all day for 8 hours, and she couldn't do it anymore. She had a lot of health problems. You know what that judge told her? He said, well, according to our guidelines, if you have a sound frame of mind and you think clearly, you make rational decisions, you are not considered disabled because you can get a job sitting down. Well, that may be true to an extent, but not every job are you going to be able just to sit there all day and do your job. Most of these jobs, even office jobs where you're going to sit down, require some physical lifting of files, boxes, that type of thing. It's not all just a sit-down job all day. I mean, there are some jobs, but that doesn't mean you're going to be able to get that job, and it doesn't mean you're going to be able to do that job. So, what some people are good at, other people's aren't. But after a few years of fighting the court, she finally got put on disability. Her and her husband, Jesse, both were on disability. So you might consider that. If you think you're disabled enough and you were on disability and you're not working, you might think of talking to your doctor about going to the court to see if you can't force them to get you back on disability. Because, I mean, if you got a doctor behind you that's going to write a letter to that court or be a witness that you're disabled, they have to put you back on disability. I don't see how they could legally deny it. Bloomin', are you smoking happy lettuce? I've never heard of that term, happy lettuce. Gladys, you had to prove you could not walk? Oh my God. What they make you do, get up and try to walk and then you just fell? Or that's terrible. Well, with my back injuries, it's got to the place where I'm not going to even try to hold down, not even a seasonal job, because I can't stand those 8 hours anymore with my back. Because I did re-injure myself on one of the jobs. And ever since then, it's hard for me. There's no way I could stand for 8 hours. So I'm not even going to try. Well, guys, I enjoy talking to everybody. I enjoy the chat. I enjoy reading all your comments. But I think it's time we need to end this video. I mean, we've been on, what, an hour and a half, close to 2 hours maybe? I don't know. Oh, you've never been on disability, Teresa. Well, does the doctor say that you're disabled? If you've got a doctor that says you're disabled, I would think that's all you need. If you've got him to write out a letter stating that your disability, that you're 100% disabled, then they have to give you disability. How can they deny it? Yes, more than one. Have you turned in any type of a statement to disability showing that the doctor states you are disabled? Because I don't see how they can say you're not disabled and refuse your disability if you've got doctors telling them that you're disabled. I mean, you may have to do like my friend did, take them to court. Take your doctor's statement into court with you to prove that you are disabled, that you need to be on disability. Bloomin' says I'm a jabber and a jaw, so that makes me a jabberjaw. I don't know what that's all about. Yeah, Bloomin' cracks me up too. Yeah, she can get an attorney. I don't know. I don't even think my friends had an attorney. I think they just filed it with the court, and they appeared in front of the judge, and they had the doctor's statement saying that they were disabled, or she was disabled, because Jessie was already on disability. And she ended up getting her disability finally. I mean, just because you think soundly and you make sound decisions and your mind is capable of a job doesn't mean that you're going to be able to get a job with no physical activities. I found it impossible. I can't tell you how many jobs I applied in offices to have a job entering information in the computer and all that. That also required you lifting a 50-pound box of files. Like, they were going to hire me at this insurance place in Fort Worth one time. And I could do the job, no problem. It was sitting at a computer all day at my desk, entering all this information about these insurance people, the clients. And but then at the end of the interview, but they said, we also have to show you this. You'll have to move this. It weighs about 50 pounds. It's a whole box of files. She said, you bring it to your desk. You take one file out at a time. You enter that data into the computer. And then you take that file and put it in the box showing you're finished with it. Well, when you get all the files taken out of one box and you put them in the other, you have to move the finished file box over to a stacking area at the other side of the room. And she said most people will slide that box off in their desk chair, because the desk chair had wheels, and then they would push the box in the chair over to the area where they stack the boxes. Well, that's okay, but you still have to partially lift that box off the chair to either, to put it down to stack it, or lift it waist high to stack it, or if it's up above waist high, you got to lift the box to stack the box on top. And I said, I can't do that. I said, my doctors told me, do not even attempt to lift anything that's 50 pounds. He said, don't even lift 40 pounds if you can avoid it, or even try. And if you do it one time. So I had to refuse the job just because of that. And then the same thing happened to me at a job here with the city. You were entering data, working at a desk, dealing with files, but you had to be able to move a 50-pound file box, and not only move it, but you had to climb a ladder with it and put it most of the time over your head on a shelf. And I said, forget it, I can't do it. I said, that's how I got hurt to begin with. So I found out real quick, just because you have a sound mind does not mean that you're going to be able to find a job just using your mind and not have any type of physical work involved, because it's impossible. That's one reason I went to school for computers. I went and studied computer science and business just so I could get jobs working with the computers, working at a desk with no physical limit, job involved. It doesn't happen. Yeah, and see, it doesn't matter if you're sound of mind and you think clear and you can do a job as far as your mind. You physically can't do the other jobs that go with that job. And that's what sometimes the court doesn't realize. So you're going to have to not only go to the doctor, have him write a statement showing that you're disabled, you can't work, but you're also going to bring up the fact to that judge that just because you think soundly and you can, you have no problem making decisions, that doesn't mean you can get on a job and use your mind to do 100% of that job, because it's not going to happen. There is no jobs out there like that. I mean, I did get one job where I was working at a desk all day long. I didn't have to lift anything heavy. But the thing of it, I worked on the telephone and I was selling over the phone. And if you're not a salesperson, if you're not a people person that you can communicate with people well on the phone, you can't do that job. So just because you got a sound mind doesn't mean that you can get on there and do that job. Because a lot of people came in and got hired and they walked out the first day because they couldn't do it. Or maybe they lasted the first week and never came back because they couldn't do the job. So, yeah, I know exactly what you're going through. Yep. I mean, I struggle sometimes just moving some of my stuff in the garden. I have to be real careful. And that's another reason I like to go into gardening in totes and buckets and big pots, because I can put that pot or tote, if it's heavy, when it's full, I can put it in a location where I'm going to let it stay, and I can go ahead and build it right there in that location. Therefore, I can build the soil, plant in it, water it, and leave it right where it's at. I don't have to move it. Now, the little buckets that are lighter, that's no problem. I can pick those up by the handle, even if I got a plant growing in it, and move it around the yard. And some of the bucket, the 5-gallon buckets are the same way. But, yeah, I know exactly what Teresa's going through. But if you've got several doctors that will write out statements, sign statements from your doctors, more than one, telling the court that you're disabled, you're 100% disabled, I would take those statements and I would appear before a judge. I would demand to be heard before a judge and get him to agree that you should be put back on disability or be put on disability. Because, it's like my friend. She tried and tried and tried to get put on disability. They kept turning her down. Till finally she went to court, took her statements with her, and the judge finally agreed with her that just because she was sound of mind doesn't mean she can get a job that's just going to 100% need her mind, that she's not going to have to do any type of physical work or any type of standing on that job. So she finally got it. I mean, at this point, I'm on my retirement Social Security, and I can basically make as much money on any job part-time that I want, and they don't deduct anything out of my Social Security check, my retirement check. Now, if you're before retirement age, they will if you make over a certain amount. But when you reach my age, they don't care. You can make as much as you want. They don't deduct anything out of it. And 9 times out of 10, if you work a seasonal job, you're not going to make a lot of money, but you can let them take out the taxes anyway, and then file your tax return at the end of the year and get your vacation money. That's what I call my tax return. If I'm working on a public job, I'll get sometimes up to $1,000 or more back in taxes I've paid. And I call it my vacation money. Well, tell me, what is hippie lettuce? I've never heard of hippie lettuce unless it's marijuana or something like that. Now, I don't know what hippie lettuce is, so I guess I've never had it. I don't smoke, so I don't smoke anything, so I know I've never used hippie lettuce. Yeah, hopefully this next time you get approved, but I'd go ahead and get those statements from your doctors and get more than one if you can. If you got more than one doctor that agrees that you're disabled, I'd get more than one statement signed. And if I had to, I would demand a hearing in front of a judge to get that ruled on. And I bet you he'll put you on disability, or he'll tell them that they need to put you on disability. So keep copies of that, or keep the original and give disability the copies of the doctor's statements or something. Because I'd definitely go before a judge if they didn't put me on disability if I was entitled to it. Well, guys, I think I'm going to wrap this up. I got other stuff I need to do. I appreciate each and every one of you being with me today. I'm so thankful that you took the time to watch my live video and that you watch my other videos that I post. I appreciate each and every one of you. I love each and every one of you. Y'all have a blessed day. And like I said, if there's anyone out there that you know that ever watches my videos that has not subscribed, I need more subscribers. So tell them to subscribe to my videos. Y'all have a blessed day, and I'll see you on my next one. Have a blessed day, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye now. Bye.